I'd like to open up with prayer now. Imam Siddeeq is going to lead us in prayer, please.
Prayer. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin.
Thank you, Brother Siddeeq. I'd like to at least say a few things before we get started. Very informal, because I'm a very informal person. Okay, them children, you need to calm down. I told Aisha to come. I don't know. That's my girl. Me and Aisha was the first one really came up and started Beautiful Sister T. The purpose of the Beautiful Sister T was to bring some type of socialization among sisters. We need to learn how to value one another without being judgmental, without making gossip or backbiting. So the whole thing with us Beautiful Sister, it wasn't about trying to get recognition. It was about trying to bring some type of social program to Master Wala Muhammad. And we need to have a socialized period, just to talk with one another, just to share with one another, because that's all we have in each other, sisters. It doesn't matter whether you're Muslim or Christian, all we have is sisterhood, and that's what we should value. So it started off with me and Aisha, like I said, this is our second anniversary, and me and Aisha was wondering, what in the world are we going to do? We started wanting to have just for little sisters. But it wasn't working because we don't never have enough parent participation. So I said, let's just change the Beautiful Sister and we reflect off of one another. So with that, I want to introduce you to Imam Siddeeq Jihad. He's going to talk about his book that he wrote. And a few other things. But like I said, you have to have this, so let me give the floor to you now.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In Allah's name, the merciful, the merciful Redeemer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu wa jannatuhu. Y'all supposed to give each what's equal. All of that. There's a verse in the Quran that says that when someone gives you a greeting, you should give them a more courteous one. So I said to you, wa alaikum assalam. I said, you should say, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and you would add, wa jannatuhu. Jannatuhu means his paradise. So I'm asking that Allah give you mercy and blessings, and also give you the paradise when you leave this plane of existence. So I'd like to just talk for a moment about the beauty of womanhood. And I'd like to thank Sister Sequita for inviting me to speak to you today, and I don't intend to be long. I remember reading in the Quran where they said that there were 4 perfect women. Now, how it came about to say that there were 4 perfect women, I don't know. But one of them was Maryam, one was the wife of Pharaoh, and one was, her name was Asiya. One was Fatima, and I believe the 4th one was Aisha, if I'm not mistaken. No, Khadijah, yes. And so when you think about those 4 women, and you think about the great women in history like Bill Kiss and some of the other women that were very prominent, I thought about it. I said, well, what about the prominence of women here today as we speak? And I know that it's very, very important for us to have scholarship amongst the women. I know that you heard Elijah Muhammad say years ago, he said, where there are no decent women, there are no decent men. And he's really saying that the women have the power to cause the men to be better. And we know that from interaction with women, that women have a tendency to have more compassion, more love, more tolerance for crazy men when we don't act right, and they still take care of their children and whatnot, and have that determination and perseverance in spite of conditions. So I always applaud, women, and I look forward to the day when women are in more leadership positions. Because when you look at the reality of what has happened in the world, it is not the women who have initiated wars and have engaged in serial killings. Every now and then you might find a woman that might, want to kill 5 or 6 people or something like that. But it's rare because Allah has put the compassion and the love in the woman in a greater degree, I believe, than men. So I applaud women for having the nature and the spirit that they have. So I want to share with you a story that is told by many immigrants when they have dinner gatherings and things like that. And I'm going to flip the script a little bit because we usually talk about a lazy Imam in this particular story. So I'm going to say that there was a lazy female ruler of a kingdom, and she had the responsibility to rule as well as teach. And so they were expecting her to come and teach on a particular occasion. She didn't really want to teach that day, But she decided to come anyway. And so she came and she asked them, she said, "Do you all know what I'm going to teach you today?" And they said, "Yes, we know what you're going to teach us today." So she said, "Well, if you already know what I'm going to teach you today, there's no sense of me teaching you because you already know." And so she left. So then the next week she came back and they expected her to teach, and she didn't want to teach that particular day. And so she said, "You all know what I'm going to teach today?" And some of them said, "No, we don't know what you're going to teach. You don't have any idea what I'm going to teach you?" They said, "No, we don't know." She said, "Well, I don't want to speak to a bunch of ignorant people that don't have no idea about what I'm going to teach." And so she left again and didn't teach that day. So then she came a third week, and they decided they were going to fool her this time, right? And so she asked, "You all know what I'm going to teach today?" And they said, "Some of us know, and some of us don't know." So then her response was, "Okay, those of you who know, teach those who don't know." And then she still, went and did not teach that particular day. So this is a story that's been told many times over the history of Muslim interaction. And I always try to, get a moral out of it. And my mind tells me that the story has a message that someone has to teach. Someone has to teach and keep the vibrancy of the society going. And so I charge you women with becoming more interested in scholarship. When I say scholarship, I'm talking about being able to pick up the Quran and have a Holocaust circle where you teach the men and you teach the boys and the girls. And this is the charge that we need into the spirit of the women today, because as Elijah Muhammad said, where there are no decent women, there are no decent men. So could you imagine if the women become engaged in scholarship and really becoming leaders in the religion, how a man is going to be forced into getting himself together and say, "Well, I got to really have some knowledge in my head because I can't even get a wife." If the whole spirit is toward scholarship and women being into prayer and so on and so forth, So I think it's very important for the women of today especially to see themselves as people that should take the leadership in the community. And when I say leadership, I don't mean come to Jumu'ah and lead the Salah on Jumu'ah. What I do mean being engaged in doing ta'aleem and teaching the Arabic language and those kinds of things. Dr. Shaker, our professor, he would tell us on many occasions this. If I say to you, "Assalamu alaikum," I'm really saying, "Peace be upon you all," as a masculine plural. Kum means a group of